It's something that will destabilize the status quo.
Because I think this spurred it on, this virus.
We're going to understand what we lose when we are alone in our homes.
Sometimes you need an external enemy in order to start to bring a group back together.
The coronavirus changes by the hour.
50% surge
has gone up.
Ease the guidelines and
okay, we get it. Coronavirus is a big deal. We don't need the news montage to tell us that. So it's clear there's a big monumental event taking place right before our eyes. And if every little thing that happens affects the future in one way or another, the same goes for something big, something as big as this. That just represents a bigger change for what's about to come. So today we're gonna be talking about how coronavirus will permanently change the world. Today we're gonna be doing something a little bit differently. Since this whole pandemic started, like in January, I had been wondering about how something like this would change the future. And then I got a news alert on my phone and I was like, oh yes. So I immediately read the whole thing and I was like, we gotta turn this into a video. Now we're here. It's more a collection of what the experts have to say. The experts are people who study how society reorders itself during massive crises like this. Crises? Crisi? A massive crisis like this. We're gonna explore what the macro thinkers have to say.
And I think the coronavirus, ironically, presents a unique opportunity. And today, Americans, Reds and Blues, Republicans and Democrats feel much more love and loyalty to their own side and a belief that the other side is actively trying to harm you and trying to harm the country.
Okay, so, and coronavirus. How is that going to throw a wrench in everything?
Coronavirus is is now an exponentially bigger shock.
Yeah.
Right, that is going to reveal and change life. And when you have very strong multi-level patterns affected not just by me and my attitudes and beliefs and feelings, but my family and my friend group and the news I watch and the media I consume on social media, and it sort of scales up. And you have those kinds of structures reinforcing polarization, but then there are no simple fixes to it. But it can change so many things that are connected to other things that eventually you see peace break out in places that you didn't expect. And that's what this crisis offers us, is this sort of opportunity, if we sort of recognize it as that, to reset, to change course. What you're starting to see really around the world is, what we call the common enemy scenario. And that is that there's nothing that unites a group or a nation or a community like a good enemy. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
As many of you have noticed, this is an obvious effect of what is happening.
Illinois and Ohio.
And restaurants in North Carolina.
All restaurants in the city of Los Angeles
are closed for dining in.
With this, the world has seen an increase in cooking from home. It's hard to say how long things will last like this, but some experts are predicting that we will see actual long-term changes in the culinary world. As stated by American cuisine author Paul Friedman, many people will learn or relearn how to cook over the next weeks. Now, people are cooking at home more than ever, and it could all lead to a lasting increase in this. Some may find new passions in the kitchen. Others, specifically in the food industry, have seen hardship. Go to saverestaurants.co to learn how to save small restaurants in your community.
By the way, when we refer to affecting the future, we're not talking about the things that we're doing at home, like organizing our garage, just because we have time to do that. That's a short-term change. I'm talking about long-term consequences, not consequences, long-term effects of this. How exactly society, all of society, will change. Here, I'll show you. Another way this pandemic will change the world is in our relationship with the outdoors. There are people everywhere, and it's Wednesday. I don't see this many people out on weekends, let alone a Wednesday. They are keeping their 6 feet.
This is a worldwide crisis. And so I don't want to say that something good is going to come out of it, but it is very interesting to observe, how quickly people can actually move and do things differently in a crisis. I think this should embolden people to think about ways to make a healthier city after the crisis is over.
What is safe in terms of getting outside now?
I don't see how people are going to get through it mentally or emotionally without some outdoor time. So it's riskier than not going out, but I think it's a necessary risk.
So when we can return to our regular lives, in your opinion, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I think there's going to be this tremendous human pent-up desire to be together in public spaces, and we're going to understand what we lose when we are, alone in our homes.
Another lasting change is how we use technology. Okay, so how did we use it before this? Scrolling social media, group chats, binging TV. Perhaps an earth-shaking event like this could allow us to take full advantage of existing technologies that we weren't fully utilizing. I know I'm not the only person FaceTiming my family almost daily, and having virtual happy hours. We all seem to not only have time to do this, but a desire for human interaction. And for now, interacting digitally is the only way. Speaking of talking to my family, my mom, who is a nurse practitioner, just yesterday texted me this. So I figured it would only be fitting to talk to my mom about another change, the rise in telemedicine. First of all, what is telemedicine?
It's like a visit, almost exactly the same kind of visit you do in a clinic visit, except that you're doing it on the phone.
Like video or phone?
I think most of the visits are going to be with a video. For this kind of thing, you can use your phone, you can use your iPad, you can use a computer, but you can use an iPhone.
What % of visits could be telemedicine, do you think?
Probably at least half, maybe more. I think a lot of upper respiratory, maybe some viral illness visits, reassurance visits, anxiety, depression, sometimes some hypertension if the patient has their blood pressure cuff at home. Diabetic visits, if they have their blood sugar readings on their machine, they can show them to us.
If half of the visits can be telemedicine, the technology is already there. Why isn't this already happening?
It should have been happening because I think that this spurred it on, this virus.
So is it already happening?
It is happening like crazy, but the boom has just happened in the last couple of weeks.
So when you do telemedicine visits, I think it's important for people to see your mouth, so you gotta keep the camera tilted down, keep your whole head in frame. Okay, so while we're here, I think the most obvious change is that a lot of people have died from coronavirus and a lot of people are going to die. But as we're constantly being berated by death toll numbers and bad news and number of cases, I think it's really important to remember that life is going to return to normal. And when it does, there is a lot to look forward to. While you're self-isolating, staying at home, social distancing, whatever you're doing, whatever you want to call it, you can still explore something new. Philip introduced me to the kendama the other day, the greatest toy known to mankind. Put the mic on.
Make sure to subscribe and comment below what changes you're already seeing due to coronavirus. And make sure to explore something new.